Hello friends, welcome to the Rayo Moon Oracle. I'm Rayo and today we have a new reading I am calling the Autumn Harvest. And what we're looking at today, this is a continuation of the seasonal series I had started back in, I think, winter of 2021 with a Winter's Light reading. And I really wanted to focus seasonally on the energy and how that's transforming and how that's moving through our lives. So I took a little bit of a break from YouTube, but I'm back now with my favorite season with autumn. And I'm super excited to share this reading today. We have 5 groups, so it's going to be a bit of a beefy reading, but you'll really be able to kind of tune into whatever energy is really calling to you, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more specific. But today what we're using deck-wise, we are using the Santa Muerte deck. This deck is going to be our key one that's going to tell us what energy is being harvested in our lives, what energy we're reaping after all the time and energy we put into this specific lesson. And then speaking of lessons, we have the Soul's Journey cards. So that's going to actually tell us kind of what lesson this energy is in regards to. So the energy we're reaping and then the lesson it's a part of. We're going to get a little bit more clarification after that with our Halloween Oracle. Have to have this one. We're coming to my favorite holiday here pretty quickly. So Halloween, fall, my favorite time of year. And then finally, we're going to use the Alchemy deck, new one in my collection here. And the Alchemy deck is going to show us and tell us how this energy is going to keep transforming, how it's going to keep transitioning us into the next season, into the next steps and stages of our lives, right? So we finished that lesson. Now what's the next lesson? What are we going to start learning? How this lesson maybe applies to other lessons we've learned. So I'm super excited to share this reading. It was very powerful when I did it for myself, as I usually do as I'm testing out these readings. So I'm excited to share it all with you today. And let us hop over to our groups now so you can figure out which group is yours. I'll see you over there. Bye. Hello, welcome to the pick a group portion. So we have our 5 different stones here, 5 different groups we can choose from. So going from left to right. So this is group number 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5. So starting with group number 1, we have the Septarian stone. Let's get nice and close with that one. So Septarian, there is a few different minerals in this one. So that combination of the minerals really helps us focus on wholeness, on unity, working all together on different things. So we've got different little bits of stones. You kind of see it in the way it patterns out here, where we've got this like kind of dark brown, we have this lighter kind of quartzy stone, and then we have this like flat brown coloring. So it's a very interesting stone. You might also have heard it referred to as dragon stone before. And for this stone specifically, there's a lot of connection to like emotions as well, because it used to be in the sea, this combination of stones coming out of the sea and condensing like all together. So that's our Septarian stone, group number 1. Group number 2 is the red quartz, not rose quartz, red quartz. This is one I've had for a really long time. I like this one for the different patterns and kind of coloring it has in it. So lots of cool kind of depth to this stone. Red quartz. Quartz is a programmable stone, but red quartz more specifically, it helps kind of focus that energy a little bit more into our root chakra with that red coloring. And nice close-up kind of look at it. You can see the camera even a little bit there. So that red coloring helps focus it in kind of more of the wholeness, the grounding with the root chakra, and that kind of red color. It gets a little bit deeper into kind of that brown almost. All of our stones kind of have that red kind of brown tone range to them. But red rose quartz, or I keep saying rose quartz, so red quartz, good for a little bit more grounding focus, like focusing our thoughts, focusing our mind. And that is group number 2 here. Group number 3 is our Shiva stone. So if we get a little bit closer look at here, we can kind of see the banding in the stone. Shiva stones also very good for balance. They come in various amounts of sizes, so this one's actually a pretty decent size. Usually you can get them pretty like in a little bit smaller size like this. I think I have a small one somewhere as well. Shiva stones, very good for balancing the masculine and feminine energies, very good for the sacral chakra, for sexuality, fertility, that kind of energy kind of going in fertility in various areas of our life. So that balancing of masculine and feminine energies is very prevalent with this stone specifically for you, group number 3. So here's that stone. It has a specific spot. Let's see if I won't roll too much. There we go. Group number 4, this is a tiger's iron stone, a red and yellow irregular tiger's eye stone. This stone I got specifically to help deal with Mercury retrogrades. I needed a little bit of a bigger piece, so this is why I got this stone specifically. But that different combination of elements in this stone gives you a lot of variation. We got that hematite, you can kind of see a little bit darker in there, so another good stone for kind of balancing things overall in many different aspects, because we have kind of 3 different types of stone in this rock specifically. Here, a good close-up look. You can see the camera reflected in this one as well, but we got lots of pretty banding and coloring in this stone as well. So if Mercury retrograde is really affecting you, this might be your group potentially. Just helping rebalance the mind, helping with our communication, helping combat the effects of that Mercury retrograde. So this is group number 4, tiger's iron / tiger's, like gold red tiger's eye. And then finally, group number 5, the Carnelian stone. This is a nice big piece I managed to find. I kind of like the spots it has. This little one right here, it's got a few spots around. It's got another cool spot right there. So get nice and close for this one. So Carnelian, helping with our energy, helping bring kind of vitality back into our sacral and our solar plexus chakra, kind of really focusing on that energy. When I feel like I need a little bit of an extra energy boost, this is a piece I'll grab for, or I'd like to have around me. Carnelian, very beneficial for those 2 chakras as well, that sacral and solar plexus chakra, that orangey color leading up into those 2 chakras there. So our Carnelian stone, very good for just having abundance of energy. It's a lucky stone in a lot of ways. It's been used for a long time across history. So that is group number 5. So here's our 5 groups, our 5 different stones. Take a minute, pause the video if you feel like you need to do so to see which group resonates with you, what group is yours. Do pendulum, muscle test, meditate, whatever you need to do to kind of figure out which group is yours. And then join me in your group when you're ready. I'll see you there. Bye. Hello, group number 1. Welcome to your reading. So if you picked the Septarian stone, let's get a good close-up look at that one here. There we go. Come on, go. There we go, camera. So this stone has those 3 different minerals in it, like we were talking about in the group choose a portion here. So here's just a good close look at your stone. Very grounding stone, very helpful stone for many things actually. So let us see how that stone shows up in your reading here, and let's get our cards and start your autumn harvest reading. So we're going to start with our Santa Muerte right here. Santa Muerte, I love it so much, but it's just such a intense deck sometimes. So, but very accurate. So, okie doke. Okay, so Santa Muerte. For group number 1 here for our autumn harvest reading, please give us the energy that they are now harvesting in their life as they are progressing through the seasons. What energy is being harvested for group number 1 here, the Septarian group? There we go. Thank you. Okay. So that is a reverse 9 of Swords. Reverse 9 of Swords. Okay. Close up look at that one. Here's it upright. Very interesting card in this one. I don't think I've seen this one in a long time. So that is reverse 9 of Swords for you. So just keep in mind for this reading specifically, reversals in the autumn harvest, not necessarily a bad thing. When I did the reading for myself, I think I got reverse Knight of Pentacles, and it ended up being very accurate for what the reading was and what was going on. So next up is our Soul's Journey card. So let us see how our reverse 9 of Swords over here, what lesson that correlates with. So we're going to get all of our cards out first, and then we'll break down the reading. Okay. Soul's Journey cards for the reverse 9 of Swords. Tell me what lesson The group number 1 here is learning what this Nine of Swords is referring to. Reverse Nine of Swords, what lesson it's referring to. Top card, please, but just the one. Try again. A little bit of worry in there, but let's see. Come on. Oh. Okay, we won't take either of those because too many fell out and I need just one for this. Thank you. Okay. Perseverance. I know I can do whatever I set my mind to. Let's get a little bit closer. Look at that one. There you go. Okay. So that's in regards to the lesson here. Now we got our Halloween Oracle. So let's get a little bit more clarification on this energy so far. Okay. Okay, Halloween Oracle, can you please give me a little bit more clarification on the energy already out and present for group number 1 here for our Autumn Harvest reading? In regards to the lesson, in regards to the energy, the top one, Underworld? Okay, Underworld. So this one says, where all things pause and begin again. So it's interesting with our skeletons here, right? In our swords card over here. And with this one, how we just got something around the face of both cards. Just an interesting note real quick there. Finally, with our alchemy deck, Oracle one, let us see how this energy is going to change and transform. Okay. So, Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, please give me the transformation, transition energy for this Autumn Harvest reading for group number 1. How's this energy going to transform? How's this energy going to change? Top card. Okay. Magnus Opus, the Great Work. Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So here's a little bit more close-up look at that card for you, group number 1. The Great Work, Magnus Opus. So that's a phrase you hear definitely in your life, right? Somebody writes a novel or something big, that's their Magnus Opus. So that's a decent transition energy. So let us take a peek now and see how this all breaks down together. Okay, group number 1, my Septarian group. So, Reverse Nine of Swords, is this actually a better way for this card to come out, in my opinion? So with this card, the Nine of Swords, usually, so we see our swords going into the head of this skeleton here, right? So lots of pressure on us, lots of things going on, things coming at us from multiple angles, and it's actually a very stressful card in a lot of ways. If you see all this pressure on the skeleton, it's just like, okay, hey, this is like slowly suffocating us. But with it coming out in reverse, this is showing a sign of hope for us here, which makes a lot of sense with our preservation card coming in, right? So there's been a lot of things going on in your life potentially here that you are now finally with this autumn harvest energy accumulating the benefits of, or you can once you work your way through, right? It's a lesson of preservation. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Preserving through all the challenges you're facing, all the things that are happening in your life that are really putting pressure on you. So I'm not wanting to make light of the situation, right? It can be tough. It can be a lot of very strong, difficult things, heavy things going on in your life for multiple reasons. Makes sense, especially with us still being in retrograde right now and this fall equinox energy coming in. There's a big transformation happening right now. There's a lot of things changing and going on. We're coming up on that full new moon energy as well, depending on when you're seeing this reading. So the lesson here with these two cards, right? It's like, okay, hey, there's hope. You're getting through it. You just have to preserve a little bit longer, work a little bit more, just hold on a little bit longer, and you're going to work your way, persevere through the situation and be able to come out in the long run really, really strong, okay? So keep that in mind with this. Our underworld card here, where all things pause and begin again. You think of the underworld, it's a place where obviously the people that have died go to, depending on whichever like mythology you're looking at, right? I think of the underworld, I think of Hades. We have the pomegranate here, so that definitely looks at that Greek Roman kind of energy, right? With Hades and Zeus and Persephone, all that energy there. But the underworld specifically in this case, think of it kind of like the death card in tarot with that transformation energy happening here. So the underworld specifically, this pause and begin again, right? So it's with this heaviness that we have over here with our reverse Nine of Swords with the Perseverance card. Things have been very stagnant lately. Things have been very heavy. It's hard to move forward. But that's this pause energy on this side over here. Sorry, we're going out of focus on the camera here. But that's the pause energy of this card. The pause before we begin again, before we move forward, before we take that next step. The Underworld card asks us to see what we need to transform in our lives. So again, that's that perseverance coming through. What do we need to take a step back with? What do we need to take a look at in our lives? And how do we progress and move forward? So it depends on whatever situation you're personally going through, how this feels in an autumn harvest, right? You're harvesting this energy. You're kind of harvesting this last lesson of perseverance, holding on, staying strong, working through things, seeing how this will transform you and make it to where you move into a new beginning. So again, so then we move into this transformation energy, this energy over here with the Magnus Opus card. As you're moving forward, right, as this energy finally accumulates, as this energy is finally harvested and reaped, all these lessons from this perseverance, here we move into this great work, the Magnus Opus, that next big stage where it's like, okay, hey, here's the great thing you're working on. You're taking all the lessons that you learned from the reverse Nine of Swords, from perseverance, from the Underworld card. All that energy is going to be accumulated and wrapped up nicely. And then that is that fertilization. That is that soil that help the seeds for this great work in the long run. It doesn't show up right away, right? But it's that you see these flowers, these roses blooming out of this darkness at the bottom here, right? We get these little pops of color. So you see it here. Same with like our pomegranate at the bottom with the Underworld card. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, hey, this is popping out of all this hard work, all this heaviness, all this kind of depth and dark and despair, this underworld energy. All of a sudden these roses are coming up. All of a sudden these roses are blooming and showing what is possible, right? If you look even a little bit closer at this card, we see these little like gems at the top of the roses here. See these like little, see if I can get real close on that one. Yeah, there we go. Look, so you can see these little gems popping out of these roses. The roses themselves are beautiful, right? They're showing that energy and that growth coming out of the darkness, but even more so, there's these little gems, these little bits of shininess and happiness and that like actual like, hey, this is the important thing. This is that great work here. That's something to keep in mind with it, specifically in this deck with the alchemy and this great work, this Magnus Opus. It's not... the book mentions specifically that if somebody's claiming they're working on their great work, their Magnus Opus, that they're probably not. There is a divine energy, a greater connection to a higher purpose, the universe that comes out with this energy. That's, it just kind of happens. It's not something that you can like actively choose to work on. It's something that comes out of all this darkness, like a dark night of the soul, all this, heavy energy. Once those lessons are in place for it, then this starts popping out, and it's something that just kind of happens in the long run. It shows up when things are in the right place at the right time with the right people in the right situations. So keep that in mind, right? It's like, okay, it pays off. I promise, according to this reading here with this energy, all the things that you're going through, all the heaviness, all the challenging lessons, persevering through them, and the transformation that happens with this Underworld card here, it does pay off in the long run. It shows up here with our alchemy, with that transformation energy. It does pay off for you. And coming back to our stone that's kind of heading this reading here, the Septarian stone, that there's a keeping yourself grounded, keeping yourself connected, right? The Septarian stone, it's connected to that water energy, but it's also a very grounding stone itself, and that connecting across multiple avenues, right? Connecting to your spirit, your physical, your mental, your emotional, having all those pieces in place and knowing that you can stay grounded and work through all this very, very difficult energy will result in good things in the long run for you, okay? So I know it's difficult. I don't want to claim to know exactly what's going on. And of course, this group is for this reading, and this group is for many people. But whatever difficult situation, whatever challenging, heavy thing you're going through at the moment, persevering through, letting it transform you with this underworld card will result in the long run for you being in the right place at the right time for great things in your life, for whatever this great work is, whatever great vocation, purpose, whatever that is in your life, will come back around for you. So stay grounded, stay tuned in with yourself. Get some Septarian stone if you feel like you need to, because you'll make it through, okay? Just a little bit longer. Let yourself transform once this energy of the retrograde passes and the new moon and the fall equinox, once that all comes through, you'll harvest all this energy and move into winter where you can rest and then start again anew in spring with these new roses, these wonderful things growing for you, okay? So, oh, come on. There we go, focus. So, yep, keep that in mind. We're harvesting this energy now, harvesting this last big final lesson, moving into a rest period, and then growing new things in spring. So it's going to be a very interesting 6 months for you. So check back in for the next seasonal reading in winter and how you kind of need to progress forward potentially if you feel called to do so. But that's all I have for you, group number 1. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 2, my red rose quartz group. So I specifically ended up getting this webcam camera so we could just get good close-ups of like stones and stuff. Let's see if we can, there we go. So lots of pretty red kind of coloring in this one, obviously. I like the deep lines in this one. This is a favorite piece in my collection. But our red rose quartz, yeah, it has that hematite in it, right? We see the kind of like depth this crystal has specifically. There we go. So lots of movement and shine and different things kind of going on with that stone. Quartz itself is very programmable, so it's going to be interesting to see how this progresses with this reading. Quartz can be programmed to do lots of different things, but red quartz has a little bit more of that grounding energy with that red color, that hematite, and focuses on that grounding the energy in kind of like more of that our emotions, our spirits, versus kind of in the physical. And when I need it, I use it kind of for like grounding my focus, like getting good clarity, grounding my thinking energy. So let's see how that shows up in our reading here. So I got our 4 decks. Let us get started with our Santa Muerte deck. Okay. So Santa, love this deck. Very strong deck. So, okay. Okay, Santa Muerte for group number 2, our red quartz group here. Please tell me the energy they are harvesting now with our fall equinox. What is the harvest energy? Our autumn harvest energy, please. Top card, the star. Ooh, okay, cool. Underneath that was 9 of cups. Interesting, okay. So the star in the upright. Get a good close look at that one. Beautiful, beautiful. So we got some of that water energy. Look at this kind of red coloring that matches our stone a little bit here. So that's interesting. Let us see how this progresses now. So we're going to grab our Soul's Journey cards now. So let us see what lesson the star energy applies to here and what energy is being harvested and what lesson this is. Okay. Soul's Journey cards, please tell me in regards to the star, what lesson the energy is being harvested in. What lesson is this energy a part of? Oh, come on, come on. Okay. Ooh. So, Death card. Interesting. I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. Look at that red energy coming through again here. So with our stone, with this card, ooh, that's interesting. Okay, okay. Then next, we've got our Halloween Oracle. Let's see what we have in regards to this. Let's get a little bit more clarity. So Halloween Oracle, please give me a little bit more clarity on this energy that is out in regards to Group 2's harvest, autumn harvest energy. Just a little bit more clarity on the situation, please. Thinking about it. Thank you. So this is the Skull of Darkness. Blind spots. Okay. So I just like to point out kind of interesting coincidence. So look at the tops right here. So above the head we have that Star of David. And then we've got this fire flame above the head of this Skull of Darkness here. So that's a little bit of an interesting coincidence here. Okie doke. Let's straighten this up here. Get these out of the way. And then finally, our Alchemy Oracle deck. So let's see how this energy here is going to transition into our next season, into further stages of our life. So Alchemy deck with the energy that is out and present here for Group 2's Autumn Harvest energy. Please tell me how this energy is going to transform and change now that this lesson has been reaped, now this energy has been harvested. Love this deck, but it's a little difficult to shuffle sometimes. The cards just twist so much, so. Come on. Yikes. Okay, hold on. So clarify. Let's see. Okay, how is this energy going to transform and change and transition for group number 2? Almost. There we go. Thank you. Okay, the Fog Nebula. Let's get a good close look at that one. We got some red coloring in this one as well. Okay. So just a quick look here, right? So just look at our color balancing here. Before I dive a little bit further into cards, we got this combination here where it's like red, red, dark. It's like getting kind of darker, and then all of a sudden, poof, a lot of light. So we'll see what fog actually means here, but that's just interesting to note for our coloring. And then it kind of mirrors our stone a little bit too, right? With like a lot of red, some of that darker coloring energy, but it popped in with lots of white, and like look at our spot right here. So, okay, let us take a peek and get a little bit further in here. Okay, group number 2. So there's kind of 2 ways to read this one here. So it might resonate. There might be 2 different kind of subgroups here in this section, in this group specifically, but this can be read both left to right and kind of right to left, right? Because it's these 2, like there's almost like 2 subsections right here, right? So with our star card, our star is that kind of wish fulfillment energy, things, coming in, that is that like a little bit of like destiny. Hey, this is important. This is connecting these like 2 realms of reality, like really like taking our lessons and learning from it. And it's being clarified by death here. So those endings are merely beginnings energy that's present with our star, where it's like, okay, hey, we've kind of come out of this energy. We've come out of a death process, whether it's an actual physical death. In that case, I'm sorry and my condolences on that, but it could be the death of a career, relationship, right? Something has ended and it's bringing in new star energy, right? This is like, these are tied together because the lesson was in regards to death and letting things go and letting things die and move on to the next thing, which is, hey, this is your wish coming true. This is that energy. It's like that wish upon a star, that thing you've been hoping for is finally coming in for yourself, right? On the other side over here, though, with the Skull of Darkness, our blind spots and fog, these are tied into each other too, for blind spots and fog, right? If we have blind spots of things we can't see in ourselves, things in others, our vision is foggy, right? Our vision is not clear. We're in a fog. In a fog, in a funk, and that gives us blind spots as well, right? So that's kind of interesting how these cards mirror each other over here. These cards are together. But if we look at the star and the blind spots, right, sometimes we can be blinded by focusing solely on that one goal, that one focus. Like it's almost like getting blinded by the sun, right? But if we're only looking at the star, if we're only looking at our one focus, right, we can have our blind spots around us and other things we can't see, right? We're only focused on that top energy, that light at the beginning, and then everything else is blinding us. So how this could be, right, if we're reading left to right in this case. It's like, okay, hey, if we're progressing, and this is usually how the reading is structured, right? It's like, okay, hey, the lessons we learned, their endings and letting ourselves be in a new beginning. We're finding our star. We're finding things that are getting fulfilled now because we've let this situation go. We've let the situation die. More clarification with the blind spot and skull of darkness, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, no, we couldn't see things. We couldn't see things. And that was why we stayed in this energy so long with this lesson of death. Took us a little bit of time potentially because we couldn't see clearly. And then the star comes in to let us actually see clearly, illuminate these blind spots here. And then the energy transitioning into the next stage of life, into our next season, nebula, fog, right? We get out of this energy finally. We're finally moving in. This is the end of a cycle, right? Like our 9s. And then we're moving into the next step, which is a 1, but it's kind of that in-between time right here before it actually starts and moves into that next stage of life, into that next energy. It's like this in-between time, which we're coming into winter, so that can clarify, that makes sense, where it's like, okay, hey, we're taking the time to rest, right? We don't know what we're doing next. We finally just got out of this. We've learned this big lesson here. We've let go of this big thing. We finally are figuring out we maybe need to take a little bit of time to grieve and to calm down and let us like incorporate this lesson. So we're going to be in a fog for a little bit. We're going to be in a little bit of a funk as we kind of work our way through, and it'll be interesting to see how this energy progresses for you as time goes on, right? You can stay in the fog for as long as you want, right? Fog does burn off eventually, so it can be you just let it pass with time. Fog will always kind of burn up in that sun as it gets stronger in the day, right? As we move out of winter into spring, or it's up to you. You have that illumination that happens in your life, and you let it burn off the fog in that way, or you choose to just remove yourself from the fog completely. So there's energy that way. However, if we're reading it this way, right, we've been in a fog, we are the energy, and this could be why this energy is being harvested, right? So we were in a fog for a really long time. This might have been that like kind of summer, previous season energy where it's like, okay, we don't know what's going on. We're kind of have these blind spots going on in our life. We're not sure what's happening. We're in a fog, but finally this energy dies off. Finally, this energy lets us go. We finally kind of figure it out. We finally get this lesson learned on death over here. It's the same either way, right? We're still learning this lesson of death. And then we are able to see clearly again with the star. We finally have that light breaking through the fog over here. We're finally seeing this light, this sun, right? So even on the top of this card a little bit, right? It's kind of foggy a little bit around it. We see a lot of illumination kind of going on, but with this water energy, fog is water, right? So that water energy kind of clouding our vision, but then all of a sudden we have this flame in the darkness. We have the sun shining through, that star peeking through, letting the fog finally kind of dissipate, right? We even see it a little bit in the corner right here with like what looks like a little bit of a moon with the fog. Oh, and it's just funny as I noticed it, but wasn't really paying attention, right? Look how similar this looks to our stone too, right? It looks so similar in coloring to our stone. And of course we have all this red coloring with our stone right here as well, and the death card with this mandala. So interesting energy for you, group number 2 here. So it can be read either way in this case, and it's kind of the same, honestly, right? So we process through the fog and kind of got into the star, or we're kind of going back into the fog energy a little bit. But keep in mind, right, especially with the star and the fog energy, they also mirror each other as well because of that water energy that is present. The star energy talks about balancing and being in both that kind of spiritual realm, that physical realm, right? So we see our figure here that's half in the water, half above it. So really connected to those deep emotions, right? And then the fog, when it's up in our lives, right? It's that air energy, our thinking, our clarity, our mind, mixed with that water energy, our emotions, those deeper aspects of ourself. So we're really focused on those deeper energies, right? So this is both a combination, both of these cards, of air and water. Air, open air here, water here, and then water in the open air. So a very big combination of both of these cards. This is a really interesting reading. So coming back to our red quartz up here, in my talking about it being, I use it for grounding my thought, grounding my clarity of thought. That's this fog energy over here. That is our again, our deep emotions kind of hanging around in the air, right? So we need the grounding our thoughts, pulling that water back out of the air so we can have clarity of thought. We can have clarity of our mind here, and using that red rose quartz. So that might be a very beneficial stone for you to have through this season, through this process here. But something I want you to keep in mind, group number 2 here, depending on how this energy progresses for you. If you do end up, if you find yourself in a fog, right, what fog does want to clarify, it's that it doesn't last forever. It'll burn up in the sun. It'll go away once that heat kind of comes back in, that sunlight, that light kind of comes in. Or again, you can choose to remove yourself from the situation and find your clarity, make that that light come in faster. So this is just, you can take this time to just rest too, right? See the emotions that are in the air for you and process them, work through them. It's giving you an opportunity for pause and healing and rest. And especially as we're going into winter here, this is going to be very, very important as well. Especially from harvesting this big energy. Death is not not an easy energy to deal with in any time in our lives, right? If, whatever kind of death it may be. Death is a very harsh sounding word in a lot of ways, but a lot of things just end that can be considered a death. Again, like a career, right? A friendship, a relationship, the things coming to an end, not an actual death. And then we do have the actual physical deaths that can happen in our lives. So this is a big energy. This is a big, big lesson that you've been going through, group number 2. So just keep that in mind. Give yourself some grace. It's okay to let yourself rest and be in the fog a little bit if that's just what you need, right? It can be very healing. It can be very, if you think of like the fog on your skin, right? There's just that little bit of nip of cold. It can feel very, very refreshing too. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward, as you're progressing in through your seasons here, as you're wrapping up these lessons. This is a big lesson for you, and it's okay to give yourself a little grace, a little time to rest and rejuvenate, and just make sure you try and ground your thoughts, ground your mind, so you have good clarity of thought and you can see things for what they are. Don't have more blind spots, okay? So group number 2, hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully that resonates. That is all I have for you today. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. Hello, group number 3, the Shiva Lingam stone group. So I don't even remember where I ended up getting this piece. It's a really big one, actually. You can see these ones come in all different sizes. I've seen like really, I think I have a tiny one still that's like this big. This one obviously is, I like palm size ones. So that's this stone here. This one has some good banding in it, which I think is really interesting when we look at the stone. Come on, let's focus. There we go. So lots of really good banding in this one for sure. That Shiva Lingam stone, that really good, again, for balancing, focusing on balancing that masculine and feminine energy. So really good right now for Libra season, especially balancing our energies, making sure every aspect of our life, in the physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, all that's all balanced. And then the different areas of our lives, right? Our career, our relationships, love life, like all those things, all those are in balance and in harmony, right? So Shiva kind of focuses on that energy, balancing of the masculine and feminine. So good for relationships as well, and our relationship to self and balancing our own energies. So, well, group number 3, let us see how this pans out in your autumn harvest energy. So we got our 4 decks here. Let us get started with our Santa Muerte deck. Off to the side for that. Santa. Santa Muerte deck is it's a good one. It's been doing really good readings for me lately, and I think we finally got a good groove energy wise for me in this deck. So Santa Muerte for group number 3, the Shiva Lingam stone group. Please give me the energy they are harvesting now here for autumn, for the fall equinox. What energy are they harvesting? What is being reaped now? What? Okay. Top card. Okay. Got a few going on. So, sorry, excuse the car. So that is the 5 of Cups. We got water energy. We got kind of that maze on the top, some kind of storm energy there. So 5 of Cups energy. Thank you, Santa. So let us see what lesson this is in regards to with our Soul's Journey cards. That out of the way. Okay, Soul's Journey cards, please tell me what lesson this is in regards to that we are reaping with the Five of Cups energy. What lesson is this in regards to? Oh, that's really thinking about it. Come on. For group number 3, the Shiva stone, what energy is being harvested? What lesson is this in regards to for group number 3, please? There we go. Forgiveness. Interesting. Okay. So forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. So we got a really pretty purple and kind of orangey color here. Okay. So that is our energy there. So we'll get some more clarification with our Halloween oracle now. Okay. Halloween oracle for group number 3 here with the 5 of Cups out and the forgiveness card. Give us more clarification on what is being harvested for group number 3 here. What is going on with our autumn harvest here? Death. Death. Interesting. Okay. So death, the eternal cycle begins here. So got a really pretty bug there, kind of a skeleton in the moon. Okay, interesting. And now finally our alchemy deck. Let's see how this energy is going to transform into the next season. Okay, alchemy deck for group number 3 here, the Shiva stone group with 5 of Cups out, forgiveness, death. That is the energy being harvested. How will that energy transform into the next season and beyond? How is this energy transforming that has been harvested? Okay, the blue vault with spring under there. So that energy kind of harvesting or coming to a head in spring potentially. So the blue vault. Or no, the blue temple. Azul Vault, blue temple. Okay. So let's see. We got some blue energy here in our death card with the blue temple. We definitely see a little bit of blue over here, but it's a little bit darker. It doesn't quite fit the coloring a little bit with the 5 of Cups. So interesting. Let us take a little bit of a deeper look here at our cards and what this means for you, group number 3. So group number 3 with our spread here, right? So we have our 5 of Cups energy here. We're really focusing on those deeper emotions, right? We see this kind of maze at the top of the head of the skeleton. Our emotions kind of feeling like a maze, really just trying to sit with them, right? And like work through them and process them. We see our skeleton like surrounded by water, which is those emotions. They're like in the depths of that water, in the depths of those emotions. So we are really in our feelings right now. We're really in the feels, and what that process is, what we're harvesting now in autumn with our fall equinox coming in, is this forgiveness for ourselves and whatever situation that was weighing heavy on us that's causing this big set of emotions here, right? There's so much emotions going on, but we're focusing on forgiving ourselves, for having so many emotions, for being so deep in our emotions, for the things that have happened to us, for the things that we may have done in the past, and how we are going to progress in the future. It's saying, I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love, right? So if we're too caught up in our emotions with this 5 of Cups energy, we can't have forgiveness for ourselves. We can't move forward. We're going to end up blocking ourselves, falling stagnant, keeping ourselves from moving and growing forward, right? We're keeping ourselves from having this death moment over here, which is super important. Death is a part of life, and death doesn't necessarily refer to a physical death of a person or anything. It could potentially in your given situation, but think of death as an ending. Things end all the time, right? Relationships, a career, a self, like our sense of self. There's certain selves that we grow and change as we get older, right? Or at least we should be. But we stop being a kid after a certain point, right? That can be considered a death in this case, the death of our childhood. But we're always every aspect of ourself, every piece of ourself at any given time. We're always that version of ourselves. So nothing ever truly dies, but at the same time we have to acknowledge these endings where it's the eternal cycle begins here. The eternal cycle begins again. It's a constant, it's a cycle. We move through again and again. So we process through our emotions, we work through our maze, we get to the bottom, and then we take a breath, pause, and then we start the new one. We start our next lesson, right? This is the process of balancing our lives as well. Balancing our energies, right? On our Shiva stone here, we have these bands that just go round and round and round. So if it's like you're working your way through, right? It's moving. We're moving through. We get to the end, and then we come back and go the other way and begin again. It's that concept of infinity. The constant, the eternal, moving through again and again. So think of what you're going through as a cycle, right? We are coming to an end with this one cycle, and then we're going to begin again. So let this go. Whatever's you're weighing heavy on you, whatever you're caught up in, forgive yourself for it. Forgive yourself for the things you've done. If you've made your reparations, you've apologized, did what you needed to do, then it's not going to do yourself to keep beating yourself up over it and not letting it go. Eventually, at some point, you have to let it go for whether or not you caused harm or if somebody did harm to you, because either way, in the long run, you don't have to forget, but you should forgive after a certain point. Once it's no longer, how do I want to say this? Forgiveness is for yourself as well. And for a given situation, you don't want that energy to be held over you. So the concept of forgiveness, right? The concept is letting go as well. So say if somebody hurts you, right? It's like you don't technically have to forgive them, but it's forgiving. You don't have to forgive them to their face, is kind of what I want to say. It's like they harmed you in a lot of big ways, right? You don't have to forgive them. They don't necessarily deserve it either, but it's forgiveness within yourself. Forgiveness for deeper emotions. I'm kind of touching my heart right here because that's what I'm feeling, but it's like deeper emotions to yourself, to bring yourself back to balance, to let yourself feel and work through and have forgiveness for the situation and realize kind of what it taught you and progress and move forward. Let the situation die. Let it come to its natural end. Work through your emotions. Work through what you need to. Forgive yourself for the situation, for what happened. Things are not necessarily your fault, and depending on the situation, it wasn't necessarily your fault. And forgive yourself for it, for ending up in that situation, and let that old version of you, that hurt and pain, once you heal it, let it die. Don't hold on to it past that point, okay? Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Hopefully that you're understanding kind of what I mean for that. But it's good for being present with your emotions. This 5 of Cups energy over here, it's good to be present in them, but not to wallow in them. Don't stay in the water too long. You're going to get pruny. You're going to get too cold. The water, like this looks like it's cold, right? So don't want let yourself get sick. If you hold on to these things and not let yourself forgive yourself and let the situation be forgiven, it's going to build up inside of you and hurt you more in the long run. So that's where death comes in, to be just like, hey, let this go, let it transform, let it become new energy. That's part of that cycle, that continuous cycle moving through, right? We're balancing an equal amount of life as there is death. So let the situation die so it can cycle through and become new energy for you. I think that's going to be super important. Let there be new energy present in your life now. Might make space for yourself to have that new energy. Forgive yourself, let it go, and then that opens up and frees all this space for you so you can progress forward and move on into this new energy. Because look at this blue temple here. This is one of the later cards in the deck. This is strong, powerful, big spiritual energy here for you, group number 3. The blue temple talks about the bigger spiritual energy coming into this deeper awareness, this deeper spirituality, this really, really beautiful energy with the blue temple here. learning new things, learning deeper things about yourself. Blue Temple's a very, very strong energy. Once we open up this space for ourselves with this Blue Temple energy transforming into our next seasons, we switch into this. This is expansiveness. This is lots of energy, lots of possibilities, lots of new things coming into your life. But you have to have the space for it first. You have to let some things die off and clear up that space, right? If a plant dies, you don't keep it in the pot, so just sitting there dead. That's horrible feng shui. Don't keep dead plants. But so if you clear that pot out, right, clear out that dead plants, then you have put in fresh soil, put in new things, then you can plant new seeds. Like these kind of look like seeds up here. You can plant new seeds and have new things grow because all of a sudden you have the space for it now. So that's super important with this Blue Temple here. And using our emotions, right? You think of blue, you think of that moody kind of energy. Blues music, it kind of talks about that in the card, right? So we have a lot of blue energy here, which is that those deeper emotions, that deeper spiritual well of us, and using the strong, deep emotions we have and letting it expand our world, letting it expand things, grow, make things bigger and new, and give us new opportunities with this Blue Temple here. So that's very strong energy, and I think you'll see it progress here, right? You'll see new things popping in. What's interesting to me here, especially with your reading group number 3, this forgiveness card just really stands out amongst it, right? We have a lot of blue tones in the other 3 cards, and for other groups, the cards all kind of mirrored each other and had similar coloring and energy. This forgiveness card really stands out strongly amongst it. So this is a big lesson for you. This is a really, really big lesson. This is an important lesson for you to learn and process and reap the knowledge from. Forgiveness is something you're going to have to do with yourself and for yourself multiple times over in multiple situations. Because we live on a very difficult planet. There's lots of difficult energies. So it takes time, and we have to learn how to forgive ourselves and move on and keep that process going. It's going to be a continual process. You can kind of see it in the way this mandala moves, and it's kind of constantly cycling down and through and repeats that energy over and over and over again. Forgiveness is a strong one because there's so much hurt that happens in our world, and hurt we do to ourselves, hurt we do to others, hurt people do to us. So it's just forgiveness is a constant energy for this group, potentially for group number 3. And it's interesting how it's almost kind of opposite. We have blue and orange here. So you can kind of look a little bit deeper into your color energy and color meaning, but forgiveness is just a very, very strong lesson for you right now, group number 3. And the benefits of this lesson will pay off in the long run in a lot of ways. This Blue Temple is a very, very strong energy as well for you. And it means a lot of good things coming to you. So you just have to make room for it. Expand, make room, clear out the energy, feel the feelings you need to feel, but forgive yourself for what you need to forgive. Let the things die that need to die, clear them out, and it'll bring in all this Blue Temple energy that is very strong. That'll give you a lot of new, expansive, beautiful things moving forward, okay? So group number 3, my Shiva Stone group, that's all I have for you. I will see you in the next reading. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. Hello, group number 4. Welcome to your reading, your autumn harvest reading. So this group picked my Tiger's Eye. This is a newer piece in my collection. Come on, focus. We're right there. There we go. So we got these cool we got both like the kind of gold coloring in this one, sorry, excuse the car, and the red coloring in this one. So for this group, this feels like my group that's having a real hard time during this Mercury retrograde. I say that because this is the stone I specifically got in order to handle Mercury retrograde, so I wanted a bigger piece. I usually keep like a necklace on me, a Tiger's Eye necklace, or like a small piece, but I wanted a bigger one in order to kind of help combat some of the tougher Mercury retrogrades we might have. So this one's probably affecting you pretty strongly, would be my guess, based on my stone and my personal connection to the stone. Tiger's Eye, really good for focus, balancing out that retrograde energy, so helping us with our communication, helping technology to kind of stay in balance, working well. And it's a good grounding stone as well. We've got all those kind of colorings in there that are good for grounding, that red and kind of black color, that gold connects it up a little bit higher with our just energy fields, that sacral chakra, that the solar plexus chakra with that kind of gold coloring in there. So this one, it's a very heavy stone. It's a very good grounding stone and good for combating retrogrades. So I think that's kind of the focus right here. So I'm curious to see how this reading will progress for you, because it feels like this retrograde's a really big deal for you. Retrogrades might be a big deal for you anyway, so you might have a planet that is ruled by Mercury, Virgo, and Gemini, I believe. So we'll see how that progresses and what energy you're harvesting here with your reading coming up. So let's get us started with the Santa Muerte here. And it's interesting because my I'm stumbling over my words a little bit more. So you might be having some trouble communicating as well. So Santa Muerte, let's get started with that one. So Santa Muerte, please tell me. Okay. How do you want that? Do you want it sideways like that? That's the World card with the Three of Swords. Sentai's gotten used to kind of what we're doing with this one, so let's see. Okay, come on. Okay, so we'll take that in the reverse. We'll see how the reading progresses and get a little bit more clarification. But that's the World card. The World card is kind of that all-encompassing one of the final major cards. I think it is the final card in the major arcana. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, last one in the major arcana, so that last big final energy. We start with the Fool and we end with the World. Fool coming full circle in their journey, coming back around and having this worldly knowledge and starting a new journey. So that's coming out in reverse for us here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing with this reading, as I'm finding out. But let us see with our Soul's Journey cards now what lesson this is applying to for you, group number 4. Okay, off to the side for that. Okay. Soul's Journey cards, my Tiger's Eye group. Please tell me the World reverse, this energy that's being harvested for autumn. What lesson is this in regards to? Envy? Envy. Interesting. Okay. Oh, sorry as I hit the camera a little bit here. I'll just pull down. So the Envy card. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. So what's interesting here, for looking at our, comparing our two cards real quick here, this crown is interesting present, and then we have this same kind of color with the yellow and the red popping out, and the yellow and the red. So just interesting to kind of note of. This feels very sharp, kind of like the scythe here as well. So there's definitely some tying in here. So the lesson is envy. We'll see how that progresses and what that means. So now we'll pull our Halloween Oracle for a little bit more clarification. Okay. Halloween Oracle, please give us more clarification on the lesson of envy with regard to the reverse World card for my Tiger's Eye group. Ooh, that one popped. It stayed front too, so let's do that one. Ancestors, the lore, the love and legacy of our DNA. I'll get a good close-up look at that one. That's interesting. So we might be dealing with some ancestral work here. And then finally, let's pull out our alchemy deck. Okay, alchemy, please. With the reverse world, envy, and ancestors, that is this lesson that is being harvested here with our fall equinox. Tell me how that energy will transform and progress for group number 4 as we go into the next seasons and beyond. How is this energy transforming in their lives now that it's being reaped and harvested? That one, that's just one, right? Okay. Too many cards. Okay, this one is what? Sulfur. Interesting. So we got more red coming out. Look at that. And kind of a focus upward energy both here and with this card. Okay. Oh, also look at the green here, right? So we got green with that. So we've got green on the sides here. So very balanced color set up here for you, group number 4, with our cards. So here's cards laid out. So let's take a little bit closer look at these now. Okay, group number 4. So with this energy, this is a very interesting spread. So I definitely feel like the retrograde has a heavy impact on you for sure right now. So with our reverse world card here, the world card is usually that completion. It's that end of a cycle, everything coming to a head, finally, like everything's done and we finally finished everything. However, with it coming in reverse, there is a sense of lack or an emptiness there if we have completed it. And that's kind of where this envy card comes in. It's either we haven't quite gotten to the end despite like feeling like we are, or we have gotten to the end, we're looking back on everything we've reaped and sowed, and it doesn't feel like it's enough. It doesn't feel like it's hitting the spots, and we're maybe looking at others around us and being envious of what they have because it looks like they have it all, right? Or if they're that same kind of lesson they're in, looks they got something out of it, they seem like they're great, they learned a lot of big things coming out of it, right? And you're not getting that same feeling, right? But the thing is, like what our envy card says, it's like I'm the same as everyone but with different challenges. And we have to look at what is going on in our lives. We only see a small portion of others' lives. We don't get the full picture of it. We don't know what's going on. What social media shows us is a very tiny, tiny percentage of what's actually happening. And it's a very curated version of what is happening in somebody's life as well. So keep that in mind. With our reverse world card here, though, and with our ancestor energy coming in, there's a lot to like take a little bit deeper look at, right? So sometimes as we've progressed in our learning our lessons, this ancestor energy, right, this DNA moving, this infinity kind of movement as well, there is more to it than maybe you're realizing. And that could be something you're kind of feeling and it doesn't feel kind of right here. So we're processing a deeper lesson than maybe you realize on the surface. With retrograde taking place, our tiger's eye energy up here kind of helping balance out that retrograde energy for you. It's like you have people coming back in your life, right? That's what usually happens during Mercury retrogrades, especially. We have old lovers come back, old situations pop back up because we are trying to resolve and finalize those lessons that have taken place. So this lesson is potentially that's okay. That's what it is. So this lesson's come back around for you again, right? It's this final push, this final ancestral energy kind of coming back around that's showing up in your life. And we're trying to finally put it to bed. We're finally trying to switch this world in reverse. We've come to the end of it, but we feel empty because it's like, okay, hey, what have we done? Why is this back again? Why is this situation showing up again in my life? I thought I finished that. I thought I blocked that person. I thought, I'd said no multiple times. Why is that job contacting me again? I thought we finished this. I thought it's done. So then it almost feels like it's cheapened what has happened in your life because it's like, why are we going through this again? Why again? Why is this showing up again? I thought we finished this. I thought it was done. And where the sulfur energy comes in, the sulfur card, if you look in the description book for alchemy, it talks about mineral baths and like the sulfur, like the mineral baths, like if you're this like a hot springs, right? It smells like sulfur because sulfur is very, very strong smelling. It's very stinky smelling, but it's very healing at the same time. And it talks about the geysers and geyser in Yellowstone and that sulfur coming out of the geyser. It's like erupting and finally pushing this energy out. That's kind of what's happening here is this Mercury retrograde's bringing in this energy of this like lesson that you've learned, making sure it's really stuck. It's like, okay, are you sure? Are you positive? This is 100. Are you 100%? You're not going to fall back into this, right? Where it's that last challenge, that like final test that you didn't know was coming, the final test that you didn't know you were going to get tested on in the first place. So it's a surprise, but it's annoying because it's like, I thought I did this already. I thought it was done. Does everybody else get to be done? That's that envy energy. Why does everybody else get to move on? Why do I have to deal with this again? But sulfur coming in here as this energy is transitioning out and through is really making sure it's cleared completely out, right? If you think of this erupting geyser, this upward energy, we see this triangle, which is this sulfur energy, this sulfur symbol, this energy is all moving up. You even have movement up here as well, a movement up the tree. It's moving up and it's moving out finally. And it's working at a bigger level than you think it is, too. This is clearing ancestral energy. This is clearing energy that has been present in your ancestral line for generations. It's something, maybe the lessons that your parents both had to deal with, your mom, your dad. If it's like your mom, it's happened to your mom, it happened to your grandma, it happened to your great grandma, it happened to your great 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 grandma, and so on and so forth up. And for the original lesson, the original wound, the original hurt, right? You're clearing generational trauma here. And that's a big deal, group number 4. That is a big deal, especially in a retrograde with a new moon coming up. As this is a lot of energy, and no wonder this is also the world card. The world is all encompassing. It is all that energy, because so this is much bigger than probably what you realize, or maybe you do realize, maybe you're feeling it, but that's why this lesson's really coming back around again. And that you're envious of others for like, hey, why do they get to be done with this lesson? You're clearing something on a bigger level than what you're seeing others, and that's why to not be envious of others. This is a mini lesson amongst like a much bigger lesson of ancestral trauma, generational trauma, and clearing ancestral energy out. This is like, envy feels very small to me in comparison to the world. Envy is just like this tiny little piece here, this tiny little bit, and then you have the entire world that you're dealing with at the same time, right? So you'll get through this. It'll happen. Retrograde passes. We're going to be finished up with it here in October, beginning of October. It'll pass, and then we'll have some rest time and before another Mercury retrograde happens again. But there's just lots of big cosmic energy happening all the time right now, and it's exhausting, and there's a lot going on. But keep in mind the lessons that you're learning are at a bigger scale than maybe you realize, and try and take a minute, focus back, ground your energy, really look at with clarity and purpose, and try and see what energy is happening ancestrally. What's the same thing that's happened to you, that's happened to a parent, that's happened to their parents, that's happened to their parents' parents, if you can. Kind of try and see where these lessons are that have been taking place along a generational line, across a bigger scale than just your small little, just your own personal thing, right? So don't be envious of others. Like it says, everybody is the same. We're all in our own boats and on the same sea, but everybody has different boats and capacities and what they're able to handle at the same time. So your journey is not anybody else's. So try not to focus on anybody else's journey. Just focus on your own. If you have to focus and put energy into looking at others, do it with your family, because then you're going to look at and figure out bigger lessons, and that's going to help clear this energy a lot faster for you for sulfur. You'll reap the benefits of the sulfur as it clears out and gushes out this energy, clears it out finally for you. So you'll get the mineral benefits. You have to deal with some stinky shit. I shouldn't say that word, but you'll have to deal with some unpleasant things for a little bit here. This envious energy, as it's kind of permeating through, you'll have to deal with that as you reap the benefits of that healing mineral bath, right? The healing sulfur in this case. That's kind of our little story we're saying. So keep that in mind for sulfur here, our world. And this is why the world card also kind of came out more sideways, in my opinion, in this case, where it's like it's teetering right there, right? It's like it can go this way or it can go this way. It was kind of coming out sideways as it was. So I'll just leave it sideways like this, because you did finish a lesson. It is done. Like it is completed. It is done. You have finished it. It's just coming back around again with Mercury retrograde, because it is really making sure it's cleared at an ancestral level, at a deeper level, and clearing a mini lesson for you while you're at it. Clearing this little bit of envy here. Making sure for you to stay within yourself and focus on your own journey and not others. So it's teaching a little mini lesson here while this bigger lesson is finishing out and finally clearing out the sulfur energy on the side. And once this energy clears, you'll have a lot more energy moving forward in space as you progress into the next seasons further beyond. Focus, please. There we go. So the sulfur energy will benefit you because you'll have that healing that has taken place, the healing properties of sulfur. That healing will have taken place and benefited you as you move forward into the next stages of your life. So group number 4, hopefully that resonates with you. Hopefully that makes sense. Retrograde will be over soon, I promise. Just hold on a little bit longer. You're learning and taking care of big things. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, group number 5, my final group, the Carnelian stone group. So let's get a good kind of close-up look at the stone. You can kind of see the camera in there. But we got some pretty coloring in here, this kind of white and orangey. It's a really beautiful piece. I like palm stones a lot because I just like, it's kind of like perfect size. They're kind of a lot to keep in my pocket, but I like having them around. So really strong energy in this one. I like this stone a lot. Carnelian, it's really beneficial. It has a lot of energy, so it really benefits, helps like invigorate our energy, helps give us energy kind of in that sacral solar plexus chakra area, helping with our confidence, helping with our energy balance, that like masculine and feminine, kind of our sexual energy. So a lot of interesting energy kind of going on with this one. I'm really focused more on that like invigorating energy that's coming through for like, hey, let me give energy. We kind of need it right now, especially it's for me personally. I'm like, I've been very, very tired lately, so this is a good stone to kind of have around me. Have to like just stay strong, stay through, help reinvigorate my energy, reinvigorate my body. So, but let us see how that shows up in our reading today for your Autumn Harvest reading group number 5. Let's get started with the Santa Muerte over here. Get these ones out of the way for now. Up over there. So Santa Muerte. Very interesting to use this deck. Me and this deck are getting along. Not that we didn't get along before, but me and this deck are finally kind of finding our groove together, which is nice. So Santa Muerte, please give me the energy that is being harvested now in autumn/fall for group number 5 here, the Carnelian Stone group. What energy are they harvesting? Okay. That is the Santa Muerte, death. That is the death card in reverse. So here's a good close-up look at it, and it popped up in the reverse. So interesting. Also, something kind of funny that I had note of, I'd had the deck this way, right, when I was showing you it, and all the other groups I'd had it this way. So for whatever reason, I wanted it flipped, and that shows the Santa. So, okay, Soul's Journey cards next. Let's see. Soul's Journey cards. Let us find out what lesson this reverse death card applies to. Put that over there. Okay. Soul's Journey cards, my Carnelian group number 5. Please tell me with death in reverse what lesson is being harvested. And the lesson that's being harvested, what lesson is this in regards to? Death has shown up in quite a few readings in various ways. Too many cards. Various ways for this reading. I think I had variations of death show up in this year, the 3rd group number 5. Okay, what lesson is the reverse death in regards to, please? Soul's Journey cards. What lesson is this in regards to for group number 5? That one. Okay. Doubt. Interesting. Okay. So doubt says, I release the need to know all answers. Good. Close up. Come on. Camera, this is what about you. Thank you. There we go. I release the need to know all the answers. There's that card. Okay. So now let's pull out our Halloween Oracle and see. Get a little bit more clarity. Okay, Halloween Oracle, please give me a little bit more clarity on the energy being harvested for group number 5 here, the Carnelian group. Give me a little bit more information, clarity on the energy being harvested and why. What's it in regards to? What do we need to know? What do we need to know in regards to this energy? Thinking about it. There we go. Okay. So, the Night Song, Hidden Talents. We got some pretty red energy going on. Just kind of keep that in mind, group number 5. Just pay attention. So we got red, ready orange, ready. We got red over here, ready orange too. Okay. And finally, our alchemy deck. Okay. So alchemy for group number 5 here with the reverse Santa Muerte out, reverse death, the lesson of doubt, and night song. Please tell me how this energy that is being harvested is going to progress and change for group number 5 as they go through the seasons and beyond. How is this energy transforming and transitioning and changing? There we go. Pluto. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So Pluto. Pluto's a strong card. There's a lot of Pluto energy going on and shifting in solarly, like with the planets and everything right now. So, okay, so we got Reverse Death, Lesson of Doubt, Night Song for clarification, and Pluto for how this energy will transition and transform moving forward for Carnelian here. Okay, group number 5, let us take a little bit deeper look at how this all ties together now. Okay, group number 5. So this energy is, it's actually one of the more clear ones I've seen, which is nice. So reverse Santa Muerte here, Santa Muerte, death, is usually talking about a transformation, something coming to an end, transforming into the next state, right? As there's birth, or death, there's birth, and that cycle that just kind of keeps on moving through. When death comes in reverse, however, there is a resistance to that change, resistance to things dying and taking place, moving on to that next realm. So resistant to, we might stay in a relationship too long or a job too long, even though we know it's not good for us anymore, because there is doubt about the situation, a doubt about what comes next, a doubt of us being able to make it in that freelance field and that like drawing. And like, for example, let's just take the drawing. So, right, we know we need to leave this corporate job that is desperately sucking the life out of us, that's killing us, and we've been making money with our art for a little bit right here, but we have doubts that we can actually make it our full-time thing, right? And this is where our night song comes in, because it's talking about hidden talents. So let's get a little bit closer look at this bird here. The night song, hidden talents. It's a bird that sings at night, and that is unusual. That's different than what we normally hear. Those birds are usually singing as the morning, bringing the dawn in the morning. The night song is singing at night, and has that hidden talent that's not usually there. So we are having a lot of doubt for ourselves, a doubt about if we can make it and take care of ourselves, and keeping it with this like art theme or whatever that I'm sticking with kind of story-wise, right? It's like, can we support ourselves? Can we support ourselves by drawing pictures and selling our art on Etsy or something of that nature? Can we start our own website and be able to generate enough revenue and people coming in and seeing people watching our art compilations on YouTube or time lapses? Is there enough there? Do we have enough skill? Do we have enough talent, enough ability to be able to make it through, right? We're having a lot of doubt about this, and frankly, I think a lot of people are in this energy right now. Retrograde's calling us to relook at everything. Of course, with the pandemic that had happened, there's just a lot of breaking down of systems right now. So everybody's taking a look at how their life is, how it's structured, what they want to do differently, because we know the old system doesn't work. This is that Plutonian energy, right? That breaking down, Saturn as well, kind of showing up in that way. But we'll talk about Pluto here a little bit more in a moment as we kind of finish out this energy. So whatever it is, we are resisting change. We're resisting moving on to this next big step in our lives because we have a lot of a doubt about what's going to happen, if we're going to make it, if we're going to be okay. And but we have the talent here. We have the ability. We have all the talent we need in order to make this successful, make this work for us, make it prosperous even in the long run. Because now we'll get over here into Pluto. Pluto is a lot of power. It's a lot of energy. There is a lot of energy behind Pluto. That's kind of that underworld energy as well. So we get back around to death in this case, kind of coming full circle. Once we step out, we stop having doubts. We have access to a lot of power over here with Pluto. We have a lot of energy. We have a lot of ability. We have more and more things that are going to happen and happen for us because we don't doubt ourselves anymore. We don't have doubt in ourselves. We don't have doubt for ourselves. We believe in our talents. And when we're not resistant to the change anymore that's happening in our lives, we come back into power, right? This is what I was talking about, the Carnelian stone, like revitalizing ourselves, revitalizing our energy, our abilities, our power. And we have this Pluto energy. It has this transforms, right? This is that alchemy, that transformation, and working into this Pluto energy where we have a lot of ability. We have a lot of ways we can do things. This Pluto covers lots of different aspects of our lives, and it's Pluto planetary wise, right? When you have a sign, specific sign in Pluto, it's usually for a whole generation, and it affects at a bigger, larger scale than just like our individual ones. Like the sun's only in the same sign for like what, 30 days. The moon's about 2.5, 3 days. Pluto's in the same sign for like a whole generation, like 20 years, something like that. Anyway, I'd have to double check. I haven't studied it up super hard on my astrology, but Pluto's a very interesting energy for you here, group number 5. Pluto pushes us into this new growth, right? Pluto is, again, that underworld. It's connecting back to death. It is that rebirth process. What's interesting for the Santa Muerte here, right? So death is pregnant. That you see the pregnant belly here. We see the cradle at the bottom. So it's showing that cycle here that's taking place, right? This is death. We have the time. We have the scythe sitting in the background right here, kind of underneath. So it's death and life both happening at the same time for us and to us. So this is a strong energy. I think this is a very interesting death card to have. I'm glad that it's named as it is too, just kind of connect to that energy. But that's how this brings that Pluto energy in as well. This creation energy, we see these skulls representing that death. The spider web here is that building of new things, new life, moving forward. And it's interesting that we're seeing a hand here, right? And it says hand 5 for group number 5. So that's kind of interesting to note here as well for you, group number 5. So strong energy you have, as long as you just stop doubting yourself. You let go of doubts, you let things transition and change and believe in your abilities and your skills. And then you can move forward with strong energy and change your whole life, change things that are happening to you and around you for the better, better for yourself and for others. If there you have a family, friends, whoever you're trying to help and take care of and love and have in your life as well. You believing in yourself, you believing in your abilities and your talents will benefit yourself and others as well, and change things at a very deep and powerful level. So, without having doubt in yourself, right? We come back to our Carnelian stone, taking care of our self-confidence, our self-image, focusing into that solar plexus and sacral chakra. That sacral chakra energy is the sex and sensuality, and that also is Plutonian energy with the underworld energy as well taking place there. So there's a lot of similar energies kind of popping in here for you, group number 5. So here's just another closer look at the Carnelian stone again. So Carnelian might be a good one for you to get in order to just help build up your self-confidence as you move forward, as you let go and don't stop resisting the change that's happening here, this death that's happening in your life. So move forward with that energy in mind. Build up your self-confidence. Believe in yourself. Stop having doubt. This is how you resolve this energy, your autumn harvest, right? You're resolving this lesson. You're bringing yourself to a close where it's like, okay, I'm not going to doubt myself anymore. This is what I'm harvesting. I believe in my skills. I believe in what I can do. Harvesting that together, moving forward with that into a lot of power, a lot of strong energy that you can build and grow as we take a rest in winter and build anew and grow again in the spring. And that's what we're harvesting here for you, group number 5, during this fall equinox. So finish up retrograde here, double check, make sure everything's good, because you probably have a few things that are coming back with retrograde that you might be questioning, which is also coming, some of that doubt that might be coming through. Let the retrograde finish. We got that new moon energy, which is a good, strong new start. We have the fall equinox, and we're coming into a period of rest and rejuvenation, and you'll find a lot of power and ability as you keep pushing forward and revitalizing your energy, okay? So group number 5, that's all I have for you. Hopefully that resonates. Hopefully it makes sense. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. Bye.